at the start of the first several streams, once a pack comes out, in general, we do get a free code from the EA Creator Network with each new kit or pack that releases. So we do put that disclaimer at the front. In this case, I did pay for Castle Estate because the rollout of the codes from the network was taking too long. And so I went ahead and paid for Castle Estate because I wanted to start working the assets into this build. I was a little too anxious on that. But I'll go ahead and put that disclaimer there because there is some of the goth galore stuff in this build. You'll see some of the characters, some of the Sims wearing some of the outfits from that pack. And I did get that for free from the EA Creator Network. And I did get a free code eventually for Castle Estate. I just didn't use it. Right. Okay, so I'm Jason Sterling. Like I said, we're working on this. Is not exactly a castle. This is an estate. It's an apartment building. I figured when the kit was announced, pretty much everybody would be doing, let me see here. Hold on just a second. I'm going to fix this. I should be able to see chat through my screen here, I hope. We're going to double check it. I figured everybody would be doing a castle, right? So I didn't want to do the same thing as everybody else, but I also did really want to use these particular assets, right, in a build. So we're going to test my chat system here real quick, see if I can see a chat being sent. So I decided to do an apartment building kind of in the vein of apartment buildings, say in New York City or a large urban area in the early 20th century here in the United States, which oftentimes would be in the form of a revival, right? In this case, a Gothic revival. So there would be all this sort of integration, sometimes a rather wild, incongruent amalgamation of Gothic styles, but also maybe blended with other type of styles to create this sort of American idea of an old European look, right? Now, in particular, if you want to look the building up, I took a lot of inspiration for this building from the Dakota, which is an apartment building in New York City. You can easily look that up. It's pretty famous. A lot of stars live there, right? A lot of stars and rich people live there. Very expensive building. But it definitely has this kind of look. This is not an exact replica of the Dakota. I didn't try to do an exact replica, not in any way, shape, or form. But it does have a courtyard in the middle. That building does, and it does have a sort of, not exactly Gothic revival on the outside. Like I said, a lot of those revival styles definitely had a sort of mishmash of different eras. And when you look at the Dakota, you can kind of feel that mishmash. But that was my sort of inspiration for this building. Instead of doing a castle, let's do an apartment. Let's tie it into For Rent, right? The new For Rent pack. We'll tie both of those together and we'll create a sort of apartment building in a revival style. Now, let's see here. Now, this is a real early morning stream for me on a Monday. I do not normally stream this time of day, but I thought, hey, let's go ahead and we'll get in here and I'm going to just do some sort of, I'm going to call it kind of busy work, just to bring this side of the build in line with this side, because I did this side first, and this will basically be a mirror image of this other side. So I need to go through, and like where I've put these bays on the outside, I need to put the same bays over here on this side, right? It ought to be pretty easy, but we're going to go through and just do a lot of work like that. Let's throw that in there. grab this other side of it. I'm worried it is going to get a little tedious. I almost decided not to live stream this because it'll just be a lot of me moving stuff around, right? Moving chunks and pieces from one side to the other. But at the same time, it is part of the build. Maybe you'll get some ideas here on how to lay out floor plans, how to lay out the exterior. When I went through and put on this stuff you see here, right? This sort of bump outs, these bay windows. And when we get up here, you can tell it's an actual kind of bay with a balcony. You know, I didn't want just a square box. I didn't want a selection of just square boxes connected with other square boxes to create an apartment. So in order to give it a sort of visual interest, went through and stuck on, you know, various chunks to the outside, carved out little balconies in order to kind of liven it up a little bit, right? Now we've got those on there. On this front side, that's where I made a lot of changes. I went through and let's see here. Just created a planter on the front side here of this. How big is it? That's the thing, trying to go from side to side to side. I'm like, okay, now what did I do here? How many squares across is that? And that's kind of what makes it a little boring sometimes, is this back and forth, just making sure we've got everything lined out correctly. In the case of these planters, they're really just in place here in order to have, you know, an outside room that will act as a guide for this for the frieze, right? Because I want the frieze, this protruding frieze, to protrude out from the building like this. And then I end up going ahead and on the upper floors above that, I do believe, yeah, I put balconies. So we'll put some balconies up here on the second floor here in a little bit. But on the first floor, we do basically just a sort of planter box so the frieze can wrap around it. And then we put a circular, you know, kind of a half circular bump out on the front. And I won't be able to just grab that. So we'll go ahead and we'll rebuild it here. Rounded room. I think I did it like this. Let's see here. Yes, maybe. And then probably brought it in like that. And then like this. Is that right? Yeah, that's, well, kinda right. I think we're going to do like that. Like that. Yes, that is our half circular room there. And we will take out these interior walls. Now, the bad thing about the new pack is that the new windows do not work very well on these curved walls. The smallest window in the new pack does. This window here, Victorian glimpse, I think they call it. It works pretty well on the curved walls, but say these larger windows, the casement window here, it doesn't really work at all, right? So must be placed on a wall. It doesn't even want to place here. Now, when we turn on move objects, which I'm going to do right now, it will place, right? But it looks wonky. I'll show you here. Hold on. Let's just get all of the cheats turned on real quick. We'll grab that again here. You can see it kind of looks way too dark, right? Because it looks almost as though it's reading this as being on the inside of the building. And this is as good as it gets, okay? So what you're seeing right here, that's as good as it's gonna look. Sometimes if it looks like this, let's see here. Well, that's actually working pretty good. On the other side of the building, on this side, when I tried it yesterday, all we got was a big empty dark hole. Maybe I was using one of the different windows. I don't know. Sometimes it just gives you a big empty dark hole. You can kind of see that in the review. Now, one thing playing around here is I do kind of like this, to have that one window inset with the other one. Let me see here. Kind of like that. So we have like a multi-layered window. That's actually not too bad. I suppose we could go through and do that. Like I said, the weird thing is that these windows are going to look so dark compared to other windows, but because that's the white version. All right. So if we go with these darker colors, we're going to get an even weirder outcome. Like that's the stained glass version. It looks really strange, right? So we're not going to do that right here, but I might use it. That's what it should look like. I could see using it like this. That's kind of an overlaid type of window. I'm going to actually leave that at the moment and decide how we might be able to use that. The bad thing is I kind of have all the windows mapped out because I've done this side. I don't know if I want to go through and change any of that, but we might, because that's kind of a cool look to have that overlapped. In the meantime, let's take out these windows here that don't really work very well. And I swear there was something where they just left a big open hole there as well, not a window at all. Maybe they fixed it already. Maybe they fixed that aspect of it already. It could be. Now, there's still pictures of it on my Twitter account and on the review I did for this pack. But maybe they are already working on it. It's definitely possible. Never know. I will say I do think they do try to work on things, and they do try to, put out a good product. I think they do. I think they do really try. I think it'd be easier if EA gave them more time and money, right? Like naturally. We're going to go ahead and grab these little planters here. Put those up front. Now we'll go through and we'll put in some landscaping later to kind of replicate the landscaping that you can see in the rest of the building. Grab our coat of arms here, our crest of yore. I'm going to set it right there. The crest comes in two different variations. At the moment, I don't think I'm going to use these guys, by the way. They are out here. I kind of pulled them when I was just going through build by. I thought, maybe I'll use those. But at the same time, I'm feeling like it might be a little bit too cheesy, right? A little bit too sort of rubbing your face in Gothic revival. But we might use them. Maybe I'll put them in one of the first one of the first floor lobbies or something. We'll see here. We do have this sort of crest that I thought about using, but all of the crests look a little kind of dirty like that. I don't think there's a clean version of the crest. And this is supposed to be a new building, not a distressed old castle. So I don't think we'll end up doing that. Let's go ahead and grab our light fixtures here real quick, which we will put on this here. And let me zoom in a little bit here. I think we're going to go up one more. Yeah. So it looks kind of like these fixtures are actually connected to the spandrels here. Or not spandrels. What are those called? I don't know. What do they call these llama looking things here? Gargoyle. A gargoyle is the word I'm looking for, which I would have preferred more of a real gargoyle, you guys. I know the llama one is cute, and I know that a lot of people are going to love it because it's cute, right? But this is goth, you guys. This is a gothic castle build. But it is kind of cute, and I do like it. It's fun. Okay, so back over here, we're going to put some windows in here on the back side. And I guess one place where we could have maybe used this overlap treatment, if I can reach it, we could maybe put it here to create kind of a different look. Maybe. We will think about that. For now, I'm going to, I don't know if I'm going to leave it there or not. I don't think so. I'm going to take it out. If I decide to do it, I'll just bring it back and put it back into place. Now, window-wise, I do have some windows over here on this side. I used a couple of these windows here. Stacked like that. And then we did just, these sort of casement windows again here on the opposite side. We'll put them in here in a moment. Put those there. That I think, kind of is getting that lined out. Now on this side, we're going to need to put in these windows here. Another column. One thing I've not used very much on the first floor of this build, and I'm back and forth, I'm kind of calling it into question, and I might go back and change some of the bathroom windows, is I haven't used the stained glass versions of these very much. I did on the very top of the building, but we've got these stained glass looks, which I really do like. Unfortunately, there are only two versions of them. There's that, and then there's that. So neither one of them is white, and all the frames of the rest of the windows in my build are white. So that makes it kind of difficult to use those. If they had a white version with a stained glass inset, I think it would have been a given, but they don't. And we'll grab these particular windows here. Just take that out real quick. Throw these in. You can tell this will take a while. I think already right off the bat, rebuilding out this entire first floor is no easy task, right? And I won't actually, I mentioned this on the last stream, I'm not even going to try to decorate every single apartment in this build. I've got 2 apartments on this side done, and I'm doing a modern 1-bedroom to a traditional 1-bedroom from this side converted into a modern 2-bedroom on this side. And then I'll do the very top floor as a large penthouse. That's it. That's all the apartments I'm doing in this thing. And that will take long enough. Put in our windows here. Which again, we've just got kind of a little planter here on the first floor. And I think let's see here. I nipped out these particular chunks there. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Now over here on this side, we're going to need essentially the exact same thing we see on the other side, right? Because it's a mirror image from this side of the building to that side, but also from side to side. There's a little bit of a mirror image going on, like you see with a lot of apartment complexes, right? A lot of apartment buildings. Put those there. And then, we're getting pretty close here to kind of being done with the first floor anyway. Put this on here. Put in our foundation. That's what I'm doing right now. Kind of give it a darker sort of curb look there. We've also got this somewhat darker stone trim for these little low pony walls. And then the historic stone bricks are part of the new castle pack. I just did them in a slightly different color here for these planters. I don't know why. I don't really have a reason. I just thought it should look a little bit different, not be exactly entirely kind of match, right? Make it look a little bit different from the rest of the building. Again, for some visual interest, some architectural interests. Which is what all sort of details on buildings like this are, just architectural interests. I mean, you could just build a flat-fronted box, right? You could easily build just a square box and say, okay, well, that's done. That's good. I did my, put apartments in it and you're good to go. That's really all you need as far as the exterior goes, just a way to kind of seal it in from the elements. But most of the time we want things to look relatively nice, relatively pleasing to the eye and the senses. So we throw a little bit of core on there. Let's do this. Whoops. How far back? Probably to there. Like so. And then usually I'll throw in on something like, this part here, this landscaped part, some dirt, We can also put in, just so it looks a little more finished off, we'll put in these sort of, I always think of this as ivy. I really don't know what kind of plant this is. I don't know a lot about horticulture, right? But I'm going to put this here. It looks a little bit like ivy to me. It's called Hedera something. Canarianus something. Anyway, it looks a little bit like ivy to me. So I throw it on the ground as ground cover a lot. So we're going to put it there as well. And we'll do the same thing. I think I used it just over here too, right? Yeah, I think so. So we'll go ahead and did I make it big like that or I leave it small? I think I left it small. We'll go ahead and put this in. Get our sort of landscaping in place. Grab some rounded bushes here. I think we'll try it like that. I may go back and tinker with those just a little bit before it's all said and done. They also might be clipping through the wall, so I might have to kind of mess around with them a little bit due to that. See, they look kind of better over there a little bit to me. I don't know why. They just kind of do. Let's go ahead and move this back a bit. There. Maybe because of that. Okay. Let's go with that for now. And then how much clippage am I getting? A ton of clippage. So no, let's not do that. Let's bring it out a little bit. Let's see here. See, I thought on the other side, I didn't really eyeball place it. I kind of went through and just placed it on the grid, and it was fine without a lot of clipping, but that was a lot of clipping. That seems okay. So let's just leave it there. It's not super important at the moment. Then we'll go ahead and grab the rest of our weathered stone pavers here, bring them around this other side. And here in the back, we'll do the same. I might put some more planters in. I definitely plan to do some sort of landscaping here. As you can tell from this side, I've not settled on it yet. So I don't know exactly what kind of landscaping, but I do think looking at this from above that we have the first floor matching each side, right? Each side's kind of matching, except for the freezes. But you can see I'm going to have a little bit of freeze problem. It's kind of clipping. It's coming into the interior here. So I'm going to have to go through and fix some of this up. And I'll save that until the end. Because if I fix it now and I go and add one wall, it's just going to break it all over again. So I'm going to save fixing the clipping issue, or not really a clipping issue, but the issue where the exterior assets are showing up on the interior for the end of this build. But otherwise, I do think that it's correct here all the way around. I think so. We will go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and throw in the freeze if I can find. There we go. Find a spot where I can click onto it. There we are. That looks good. That looks good. So I think our first floor looks pretty good. Go up a level. We need to, again, though, kind of replicate these, all the floors, right? So let's go over here. We'll grab this over here. Just copy and paste it like so. Which I really like this second level. I haven't done anything with the second level with this particular apartment style with these double bays. Like over here, it looks very much like a double parlor to me, or like a dining room and a parlor. I love the way that looks, and so I might go through and I might decorate one of those apartments as well, just because I like that kind of style there. We'll see. We'll see what I end up doing with that. Take this out, and this out. I think that's all correct. It did not bring over these weathered stone pavers, which is kind of odd. It should have. It did on this side, so that's even more odd. Maybe I don't have them on that other side. Let me check real quick. Oh, okay. I don't have them over here, so let's put them in real quick. Go up. Probably need to put them in here as well. We'll go over here. And then again, we just need to match these two sides up so that they look the same. like so. And we'll grab this particular, whoops. I plan to just copy and paste this circular part. Let's see here. There we go. So we'll put this up here. It did bring the freeze with it as well, which I don't really want to use the freeze all the way up, so we'll take that off. And we're getting really close to being done with the second floor. Adding in these details, turning it into a building that matches. Like I said, this is reaching kind of the boring part. There's a lot less to talk about here. It is just simply going through the motions. I'm kind of surprised that this is open to the outside. It must be because of this spot here, I'm sure. I think this also will need to come in a little bit. Is that right? Think so. I'm going to go ahead and take these out real quick. You kind of saw that stutter where it's kind of showing through the ceiling there. I had this idea of putting these bookshelves up high along the ceiling like that. It's kind of a decorative feature. I don't really like the way they placed. I might end up using them kind of in some fashion like that, but not exactly. Now we're going to have to do this entire side to kind of match that over there. We'll tackle that last. Put that like that. Do. I am going to leave the freeze there because, as you can see on the bottom of the top level, I did freeze it on top and bottom, kind of, sandwiched it in. So we will go ahead and leave this particular freeze here. Go ahead and put that there as well. Let's grab this piece and we'll move it up here. And then on that particular area, that's right, yeah. I went ahead and used kind of a roof here. And a railing, and then for a decorative sort of touch, again, just to give it some visual interest, just to give it a sort of look, we're going to go ahead and once we get this in place, I can't remember what these things are called. Something, right? Gold finials, what they're called. We're going to take these gold finials and we're going to put them here on the corners. I can't remember. Did I leave it full size like that? I guess maybe I did. We'll look at it here in a second and see. I kind of like it full size like that, but I feel like I shrunk it down, but I guess not. Yeah, I must have. I must have shrunk it down. I did shrink it down there. Well, so what do I think? Large or small? Not real sure there what I want to do in that regard. I kind of like it larger scale like that. But I originally must have decided against it and gone with a smaller scale look. Let's leave it a smaller scale for the moment. And then later, if I want to tinker with it, I can go through and say, okay, hey, let's go ahead and try it. Mm-hmm. This building is this coming along pretty quick? This side of the building. Let's go ahead and take that out. Accidentally knocked out the floor there. You know, I thought about doing an apartment with like a 2-story opening like that, maybe around these rounded windows or something. I did not do it. It's definitely an option though. You know, if you are using this building or building something like this, I think that, yeah, it's definitely an option to try that out. Well, let's see here. Do, 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 do. Let's see here. I feel like Bob the Builder. Just moving right along, just getting this stuff done. Let's see here. Let's take that back. That didn't place correctly. Put it here. That looks good. And then we're going to go over on this side and try just kind of, grabbing this area here. Like so. I don't see that I left that floor in place though, or the ceiling in place. I'm going to take it out. I think I left it kind of open. Put that in there. Okay, so we've got a kind of replicated thing over here. Right. Um, do. Put in our protruding. Oh shit. Well, that's fine. I need it on that level too. Come on, stay. Come on, go on. Let's try this side. There we go. And like that, and then I used this particular frieze. This is new with the pack, this or kit, this battlement frieze. So we'll go ahead and put it in there. And then we'll continue this, really fancy protruding frieze through here. Do. Now, I do not show that I went ahead and have, I don't have this part sticking out from the building. So let's drop down here a little bit. First of all, we will take that off, I guess. And then we do need this. And we're going to take this off. Put it through this part of the build. It's kind of weird that's not reading as a floor there. It's not reading as a room, essentially, because it should be reading as a room. Like that is what it should be doing. Okay, so let's leave that alone, and then I'm going to try to make I'm going to try to make this protruding frieze, go around this part. There we go. Okay, so that did work. Putting the wall there did work. I knew it had to work somehow because I did it on the other side before we got over here. And then we want to have the frieze go along that side. Not like that, though. Like that. Okay, so let's see here. We'll put in some more windows here. Go more towards finishing off this side of the building. The penthouse really doesn't have very many windows in it. That I will wait until I haven't even mapped out a floor plan for that top floor penthouse. It takes up a huge amount of space. Like all of this will be one residence. So that's going to be a considerable job. And then we'll go ahead and run this bay window all the way up. Mm-hmm. And we'll grab this here, put it on the top level, and then up we go. And we're going to go ahead and put in, of course, this matching sort of roof for this side here. It did not bring the windows with it, which is a little odd, but we'll grab the windows here, put those into place. We're going to grab these kind of, pretend dormers from the Vampire Pack, which, incidentally, the new kit, I mentioned this a little bit during the review. It would be really hard to do a building with just the new kit. The new kit's meant to, I think, complement more the existing stuff in the game. Even though I love it, I love the new kit. It is really good. Vampire stuff works really well with this new kit. Realm of Magic works really well with this new kit. Both of those I found somehow just sort of blend beautifully with these new assets, like in the tone of the coloring and the tone of the style. Very nice blending on that. There we go. Do. Actually, I think those dormers are a little bit off. They should match up with the windows underneath here. Mm-hmm. We'll grab this here. Okay, so as you can see, we've almost got this kind of matching now on each side. Is there anything left that I am missing here? Oh, these windows will need to be placed. I've actually not put in you can see I've got one chimney over there right now. I am going to need, more than one. I do need more to kind of complete the look here. That will be coming, I think, more towards the end. I'm not real sure where I want to line up the chimneys, but my thought is maybe line them up with wherever I have fireplaces in the penthouse here on the top level. I used the stained glass versions of these up here on this top, which, kind of my thought would be that originally maybe these were just empty spaces. This is all decorative, but undoubtedly over time, you would find that someone would go in there and build them out into some sort of apartment, right? Like so. Let's grab our roof here. Put a finial up on top. I think that's about right. I think I made it. Did I make it a little bit bigger? Let's see here. No, I couldn't have made it any bigger. Somehow it doesn't seem exactly right. Let me try lifting it up maybe a little bit further. There we go. I think that's where it belongs. Now, these particular windows were a little bit challenging, these little dormers here. I had to basically, and I'm going to have to here, eyeball them into place. Just kind of turn them to sort of match up with the window down below. Again, it should go at the same angle. Let's see here. We're going to try to slide them back a little bit. I mean, trying to make them match from side to side is definitely going to be the harder part, but as well, I think it's okay though. I think that looks all right. Try, come on, here we go. Kind of eyeball it there. And for some reason, oh, okay, there we are. Well, it doesn't want to rest on the top of that freeze for some reason. It's really too much trouble. It's really more trouble than it's worth to do this, but I do think that it gives it a nice finished look. Do, 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 do. And I might add more of these details like this before the building is completely done. Come on, let's see here. Okay, so that looks pretty good. That looks like it matches from side to side. I think so. And then let's see here. That leaves this. So, oh boy. Now on the front side over here, this is kind of the street side. So it might end up being a little bit grander. It's actually a little bit bigger on that side than on the other side. But I want it to be pretty much the same. And you can see here I added in, obviously, some lighting effects for nighttime lighting. I kind of forgot I've got a finial here as well. And I don't know if I'm going to keep that or not. My thought is I am not going to put her on the other side. That's my thought right now. We'll see. We are going to take Earl's casement window here, and we'll line up the other side just like we did the front side. I'm going to turn the sun back on. And see, how did I do it? I guess I just stacked them all, but I have a little bit of a space here at the bottom, probably like that. And I think I did try them side by side, but that's kind of what you end up with if you put them side by side. So we'll do like that. And then we'll just go ahead and we'll go up and we'll take them all the way to this top level where we will use these grand windows, here on the top level. We do need to put in our frieze here at the top. This protruding frieze. Like so. And it also go here on the bottom. Now, there is a way to wrap it around these pieces here, and we're going to tackle that later. The thing is, if I do it now, as soon as I put in another wall, it will undo it, and I'll have to go back and do it again. So I'm going to just go ahead and wait until the end, and then I'll fix a few things like that. We're going to go ahead and put in this column, and the column on the other side does go all the way up. So it's centered here, but it's not against any of the walls, and it goes all the way up to the third floor. Now, you may look at that and think, yeah, but it'll stop because of the flooring that gets in the way. Let's see here. I think I took it all the way to the third floor. Maybe I didn't. At one point, I do take it all the way up, but then I changed my mind because of the gargoyles. I'll show you anyway how you can do it. I'll show you how you can do it. Bring a gargoyle with us. We'll use that here in a second. You can go ahead and just kind of, I say this and now watch, it probably won't work. It did work on the other side. You can bring this on up like that by taking out the floor, and then you can go in and just basically rebuild the floor. And then as you can see, the column will stick up through it, right? So that it does raise up the whole stretch of all three stories. And so originally I had it sit like that or set like that. But I guess when I put in the gargoyles, there was no real reason to do it any longer. And speaking of gargoyles, this is how we put the gargoyles in. Just did that. And that. Stuck them on like so. Repaint what we've got there, and we'll go ahead and put our protruding frieze back in place like that. Okay. So that gave us our gargoyles kind of arching out from the building again, as they should. Let's throw in some of this weathered stone paver over here. There we go. And then as you can see, the post kind of went up through the gargoyle, that particular. So we're going to bring it down. We'll bring it down like that to underneath it. But that is how you can get those columns to run up through a floor and not be stuck. Just as a little build trick for the future, if you're ever trying to do that and you kind of get stuck and can't get it to work. Going to run that across there. Put our other gargoyle in. I'm not sure what sort of lighting I put behind these gargoyles. I'll have to go check here in a second. I do know what I used for the post on the other side for those columns, so that we'd have a very bright, very urban look to the front of the building. And what I did was just drop down here, grab like the brightest light in this game. I think it is a torchère. That's what it is under, but it's like super bright, and I don't use it very often, like indoors. Is this thing right? We'll grab the white version here, and then I don't actually encase it in the column. It would be, I wish I could, but it just brings down the light too much. It does block a lot of that light, but I make it relatively small and then just move it here, kind of like so. So that it's very unnoticeable. Doesn't really kind of impinge on us at all, on our look. And then when we turn off the lights, got that great bright effect, right? Now for the gargoyles on this side, I guess I probably just used, I'm sure I did. We'll zoom in here and take a look at it. Come on, game, don't give me a hard time. We use just these sort of uplighting, you know, this sort of like, I'll just grab it here. This thing, this particular light right here, the outdoor ground light, that's what we used, right? So we'll go over here and do the same thing on this side because it seemed to work really well over there. Now, the interesting thing is you could do more than one light here if you want it to be really bright. You could do it from like every side. We'll see how much of a difference we've got going on with that. See, it's a little bit brighter than the one on the other side. I don't know if it needs to be that bright. If we take them out, you know, it's a little more shadowy, maybe a little more eerie if we take them out. I don't know. It's going to be personal taste when it comes to decorating and decor, whether, you know, what you like on that. We do need these little roofs, right? These little roof pieces here that we will stick on the front of the building. In fact, I've got them there already. Let me take a look at that. Take a look and see what we've got going on. I feel like they're kind of, maybe they're too low on this side. I don't know. Let's see here. They are slightly different on this side because the size of the sort of entry tower here on this side is different. And so I'm getting a little bit of that peek through from this guy here, right? We'll worry about that later. I don't know if it's that big a deal. When I really noticed it was at night. So when I turn the sun off, and you do have, you know, they almost are a little bit lit up from the light down here. So, we'll wait and see, though. I don't think it's that big a deal. Now, let's finish off this setup here. These casement windows, one on top of the other. Now, how in the world did I do that over here? I thought it went... No, I guess it doesn't. I guess it doesn't go all the way to the top. I thought it went all the way up to these windows, but no, it doesn't. I did do a little bit of a catch a glimpse window over here. And I suppose on these windows over here, I might, in the end, I might do these as stained glass windows. Maybe. We'll see. But yeah, maybe. Like I said, this is going to be in our penthouse, so I'm going to wait and see what I end up putting there in this penthouse. Whether or not that seems like a good idea to use stained glass windows in this part, I don't know. We'll see. Now we've got angels over here on the front. We've got these sort of gargoyles and flower boxes and light fixtures. So I am going to go in here. And we will go ahead and put them in on this side. I mean, this side's going to be kind of a mirror image of the front. My only thought was just not to use the large kind of statue. I don't know what her name is, that big statue. I always think of her as kind of Aurora, you know, the goddess of the dawn. Why? I have no idea. But that's kind of what pops into my head when I look at her. I don't know what the game calls her. But I could almost call this the Aurora building. I guess I could do that. Could call it maybe the Aurora building, and she's kind of the building's mascot, maybe. Now I think I used those same ground lights over here at first, and then changed to these relatively new, almost brand new, I think, lights here from Horse Ranch. They come in a white version, but I think I used gold. I'll check. I'll double check that here in a second. Now, my idea with that interior courtyard is that it will be completely sealed off. It is going to be a sort of winter and even summer garden, right? It's going to be kind of closed off so that residents have a sort of park area down here. It's not nearly as big as I thought I was going to end up with when I first started this particular build, but I think it will be big enough. Now the protruding frieze, I do want to go across the front here. That is why, probably have not noticed it, but I did a raised sort of platform somewhere here. Let me see. This here. Thought I did. What did I put there to accomplish that? I don't know. I guess maybe I just put a wall. I just put a wall so I could put this gate in it. Is that what I did? It's possible. Okay, let's assume that's what I did, and we'll just do that over here. I do guess that's what I did. I thought maybe I built a platform, and maybe that's what I did at first, was I built a platform so there would be something for the frieze to adhere to, and then probably realized, well, I really don't need a platform. I just need a wall, and we will be, you know, fine as far as that goes. This is a new entryway, you know, the new Castle Gate entryway, obviously from the new pack. Does give kind of a great sort of neo-Gothic, you know, sort of entryway for an apartment building. There we go. Let's go ahead and make sure we have our correct foundations here. And then I did use a platform here for this particular elevator. I'm not real sure why I did that. Oh, I do know why, because this is a platform. The rest of the apartment building is on a small platform. So I was building this elevator, this cage elevator. And so in order for it to match up with each floor, it had to be done that way. Now, this is a really dark kind of garden now. It's looking a lot darker once I get it kind of framed in here. So I may have to tackle that. I may have to look at that and see what I can do to kind of alleviate it a little bit. And I think that is kind of it. I might put these angels over there, of course. I did make the planter boxes a little smaller on this side. Although they don't really, they don't look that bad, that size over here. I guess I just felt like it was more in scale. These particular windows, of course, you may recognize them. They are not with the new pack. They are the sort of Gothic style windows that we have in game. Something tells me they're base game windows, but I think that's wrong. Let me see here. No, yeah, they came with Strangerville. Strangerville did have some neo-Gothic sort of accents to it. And in fact, these windows here also came from Strangerville. So, there's some Victorian Gothic type of touches to Strangerville, and that blends really well with this new stuff. Now we could, if we make her a little bit bigger, what do we get here? We could do something like that. That might be too big, but I don't know. I don't know that I consider it too big. Have more of a focal point on this side since we're not doing the really large statue on the other side. The big question becomes, should I highlight those? I think I did over here. Let me take a look at this. Because that does seem a little bit brighter to me than on, like this side seems brighter than on the other side. But I don't see that I did. I don't see any other light fixtures in here. But it does seem a lot brighter on the other side. So what am I missing there? There must be something that I placed over here. Maybe it's just because I had this lit up on this side and not on that side. Let's try that. That could be part of it. Do, 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 do. Well, I don't know. I don't know. Make that a little bit bigger. We're going to pull it back over here to keep that area kind of lit up. This is the secondary entrance. If it's not quite as bright, oh well, that'll be okay. And if I figure out what the kind of issue is in the meantime, then I'll just add some stuff to it to kind of dress it up. Okay, so let's turn the sun back on and see if the two sides look like they pretty much complement each other. The one thing we'll have to do is bring out this protruding frieze around here. I'll show you real quick how I do that. I mean, it's pretty simple, you just need to put some sort of wall for the frieze to attach to, right? So we'll draw a little wall here, like so. And then we'll grab our frieze and then run it around the front. And then once it's in place, we can just go ahead and delete the wall. And the floor, and we're good to go. So you can see we've got that nicer sort of continuous run of that frieze on this side as well. Now the other side's not done that way. Like I said, as soon as I place any sort of wall, flooring, I don't know, anything on this build, we're going to end up with this disappearing. Somehow the game resets and goes, wait a minute, you don't have a wall here, you don't have a floor here, and takes it away. But in the meantime, like when we get to the end and I go through and try to get these friezes to work, because they're kind of screwed up in other areas too, where they are showing up on the inside of the build, like right here is a good example, right along there. I'll go through and fix all that as well. And the freezes will be last. I put them in a lot of times like this just so I can kind of see how the building is going to look. And now I know exactly how it's going to look. It is pretty much in place. I don't see a lot else that needs to be changed on the outside to make each side match. Now, the last stream I was working on this particular apartment here, the idea being that, of course, this particular building was made probably around 1920, right? 1920, New York City. This is more of a 1920s apartment. So you come in, you got a dining room, you got a living room, you got a bedroom, you got a kitchen that's closed off from everything else. So it's a lot more segmented and a lot more separate rooms for separate tasks. Even though it's a small one bedroom, it still kind of adheres to that convention. So my thought was, let's say you're someone and you bought this one bedroom in 2020, 100 years later, and you want to flip it. You're going to remodel it and you're going to flip it and resell it. Well, the first thing you're probably going to do for a modern flip is you're going to take the formal dining room, right, and convert it to a bedroom. So instead of having just a one-bedroom apartment, now you've got a two-bedroom apartment, and you can sell it for a lot more money in New York City, even though it's the same size apartment. Because it has two bedrooms, or you can rent it for a lot more because it has two bedrooms instead of one. So that was where we came at the start of our remodel. I did leave this entryway as kind of maybe an original feature. Again, because when you're a real estate agent or someone selling a property, you always want to be able to put on there, right, original features still included or original touches still present, that sort of thing. Now the kitchen we totally redid. We put a place to eat here, and then we put a place to eat out here as well. So if you want to have a dining room, you can pull this out and put chairs on this side, and voila, you got a dining room. I was a little bit kind of torn with this area here, the idea being I kind of thought I'd put TV on this side, but then kind of a reading conversation area on this side. Because it's kind of a big room. It is really kind of a big room for a living room, especially New York and an apartment. I had these bookshelves here, and I really couldn't. I was going to maybe run them around here, around the top, to give it kind of a look. It didn't work very well. It didn't look very good at all. And to put them here at the bottom is going to block the windows. So that's where I stopped last time. I was kind of at a loss of what to do with this apartment, this modern conversion. Because after I'm done with this apartment, I'm going to do the penthouse, and that's all of the apartments I'm going to furnish in this building before uploading it to the gallery. The other apartments people can furnish if they want, but I'll have furnished, a two-bedroom, a one-bedroom, a modern two-bedroom, and then a penthouse, and that's probably about as much as I want to do on it. Now, one thing we could do is we could put the dining room over here. So we could take this table and put it over here like so, and then it doesn't really block the windows too much. It's kind of a dining alcove, right? I mean, when I'm looking at it, that's kind of an idea I'm getting right at that moment. And I do think that works. And then maybe we could put kind of an we've got an office over here, actually. I did build an office in this alcove, but we could either put an office here, or since it's a 2-bedroom, if they have kids, maybe a place for the kids to hang out. Yeah, something like that. I think we will do these bookshelves right across this wall, though. I'm going to hope it doesn't show through the floor above. We're going to take a quick look and see, because it might show through the floor above. Does it? No, it doesn't. Thank God. I couldn't remember, but sometimes, when something's right against the ceiling like that, there's going to be kind of a shadow on the floor above. I did not want to see that. So we will put some bookshelves there. We got kind of a dining room back over here. I've got one of the chairs here for the dining room in case we want 6 people to eat. We can kind of pull the table out. I guess we could take... We could take another one of those. I don't know where I've got. Oh, I do know where I got it. Never mind. I went ahead and put it in the closet, right? Just like you would do in real life. I took the extra chair that goes with the dining room table and I just stuck it in the closet. And then I put one here and I'll use it in the kids' room, maybe for a kid's desk. Now, let's put in a TV. Let's finish our sectional here. I was kind of working with sort of an idea here that I'm not sure I love any longer. Let's see here. I think we will do that. Maybe like this. And this. And that maybe. Take that out. And maybe go ahead and put in a different piece. Put in an arm piece like that. I'm going to put a big TV on this wall and maybe some sort of chair. Chair is the word I'm looking for. I'm kind of caught up thinking, do I like this? Will this work? Will the routing work? Will the routing work right here? I mean, I do feel like if you wanted to use this as a table for 6, you'd have to move the sectional in this case. Which I don't think most people living in an apartment would necessarily have a problem with, because you're kind of used to kind of sliding things around based on what you have room for at that moment. But at the same time, it could be kind of clumsy. I'm going to stick with it for now. Let's go ahead and we'll grab ourselves a chair here to put here in the living room. We'll grab ourselves a great big TV. Like so. And I think I'll put some more bookshelves in here. We do have, with that pack that those bookshelves came from, there are other bookshelves there that are smaller. We can put underneath as kind of a storage area under the TV. And they will work great, right here they are. They will also work great as some place to stack our video game system. That chair is maybe I'm going to take that chair out. Let's use, it's a little kind of visually, I feel like it's too big. Like visually it's taking up too much space. So let's do, we've got something like this would work pretty well. It's a little bit smaller, has a little bit less of a visual footprint on it. And maybe we could even tuck another one over here. Again, it's a little crowded, but this is, like I said, we're pretending that this is New York. And so maybe this is where we're headed. Maybe this is it. We're going to just have to go with a little bit of crowdedness here. What else do we have for coffee tables? With this, we might use this as a coffee table. It's nice and small, and it can be easily kind of pushed out of the way. And then we'll grab our video game system because our Sims love video gaming. That's always the answer. Every time they're like, can we assume your Sim dislikes video gaming? No, you can't assume that. He or she loves video gaming. Move that out of the way just a little bit, like so. There. So now we've got that set up. We could put a rug in here. Let's see if we've got kind of a modern rug to use. And we'll throw in a couple of light fixtures here in just a little bit. Maybe backlight that TV. This is always a pretty good modern look for a rug, you know. We'll go with that. And then, yeah, let's grab some backlighting here. There's one new light that I really do like for backlighting stuff. Let's see. Came with university, I think. Not university, high school. High school. Gives us a nice kind of feel. So it kind of brightens up that area there without being overhead lighting. Now on this side, we do have all of these bookshelves. We should try to do some sort of lighting here. This is going to be a little bit tough. Ideally, what I would love is that the bookshelves themselves were lit from the inside. Okay, so if this was my apartment and it was real life, I would try to put, oh, look, well, that kind of worked. I was going to say I would take this sort of light fixture and I would just put it inside, but that actually did kind of work. So, okay, let's do that. Does it work on the top level or just down there? Just down there? Is that the only place it's going to work? Oh, that sucks. Okay, but is there another one that might work better? Because see, I love that. That looks really good. That's exactly what I was thinking. Right, like that, right? So that the shelves are kind of lit inside so you can find the books. So that does look exactly like what I thought. I wonder if any of this stuff would light it up. Now, it's lighting up the bottom more, but it's not lighting up these top units. Okay, what other, I know we have a fluorescent bulb in here. My big fear, of course, is if most of these lights are going to operate exactly the same, right? They're not going to be different from light to light. I am hoping that they're going to be different, but they're really not. Now I could take the top level off, could do that. And that's what I'm probably going to do if we don't figure out something here to light up this top level, which would look so great. I really wish I could figure out a way to light it up. Because I really like the way the bottom looks there. Now there's that. There is that. That's actually a little too harsh. Let's see. I think that's I do think that's too much light there. Let's take the big one out. Maybe this smaller one, this ambient light. The thing I don't like about ambient lighting is not everyone kind of knows that's what it is, right? And it can be kind of difficult if someone doesn't like the light to realize that's what's lighting everything up if they're trying to remove it. But that said, I mean, that is kind of giving me the look. It's just reflecting so much here and doesn't really look like it's coming from inside the bookshelf. Okay, so I'm basically kind of stuck where what we're going to do is just take off that, right? We're going to go ahead and just take it off because the look I'm going for is really more this, but I kind of want these to be down here inside. So let's put that there. Maybe if we grab these little boxes, like so. So it's not too bad. It's okay. Let's see here. I don't really want it to auto snap down. I kind of want it. Let's leave it then. We'll just leave it alone. I may ultimately go back and change that to that ambient lighting. It was a little harsh. Let me roll all of this back here. I mean, it was a little harsh, but it did kind of give me the look I was going for. Maybe if we use something, a smaller piece of it. Let's try this one. Okay, I'm going to just go with that. I am going to go with that. We're going to call that good. I think it looks pretty good. It's not bad. Uh, the light is not too intense with that particular look, I think. So we'll say, okay, we're going to call it good. Plus I'm just tired of it. I really just am kind of tired of messing with it at this point. I'm going to put this one over here, like so. Let's see if we can grab one for up here. That's a little sort of intense there. But that's really intense. Let me turn that around. Let's just take that out. And then for this bottom level, we'll do like we did on the other side and just use a standard painting light. Will it work on this? Yeah, it works. Okay. So that lights it up a little bit. This is still, like I said, really too intense, but like that's not too bad. It's not too bad. So we'll go with that over there. I don't know that I love this setup for the dining room, but I'm going to leave it. And then we'll go ahead and we'll put in a plant, a lovely plant, something decorative for this particular apartment. Something modern, maybe this. I haven't ever really used this very much. It's got kind of a weird look to me, but let's throw that over there. And then maybe one of those table decorations on this side. Let's go with that. Yellow kind of matches our dining room chairs. Okay, so we've got a living room kind of mapped out there. Actually, pretty nice. I gotta say, I think if you were in New York and you saw this apartment, you'd be pretty thrilled, right? If I do say so myself, I think if you were in New York and you saw this apartment, you would be pretty thrilled. You'd be okay with it. Let's grab a tub. Let's put a tub and a shower. I'm thinking a tub and shower enclosure. I just don't usually like most of them. Is the only bad thing. Maybe this one would be okay though. It's kind of modern. It's kind of fine. Let's put a tub there. Let's grab a toilet. Now I always get the tub and toilet kind of in the wrong spot, and I end up having to kind of flip it around. Like I think I have to put it kind of like, well, I can't do like that. So I'd have to put the toilet over here, which means couldn't have the ensuite access for the master bedroom. I think I'll just move the toilet out a little bit. Maybe that will be enough. I know that I always go in and play test. I always go in and play test. That is the most important thing with any build. Play test, play test, play test. Even when you know it works, because I know it works. Even when I know it works, I still go in and play test it. Because more than once, I've not more than once, a couple of times. So, well, it is more than once if it's a couple. I have not done that. And then I end up playing with it after I've already uploaded it to the gallery. And what happens is it doesn't work. Something doesn't work, right? And then I feel stupid. And like, yeah, I should have play tested that. I'm really going to go ahead and risk the toilet here. If it doesn't work, I'll figure out something because I want double sinks in this area. And actually, I almost kind of want countertops in this area to match the kitchen. That's what I'm going to do. Let's put some countertops here to match the kitchen. Plus, it's got all that storage space underneath. And if you're like me, there's just never enough storage space in a typical hall bath like this. That's not a master bath. They don't put a lot of storage space in there. There's not enough counter space. As though anyone who uses this particular hall style bath just doesn't own any hair care products or razor or anything else. Let's see here. And we'll do that. We're going to need some toilet paper for our toilet, of course. Just kind of eyeball place it. I think we'll turn it gold since we're kind of getting a yellowish kind of gold theme going in here. We can make it kind of gold. Does this come with a more golden handle? I don't think so. So we'll leave it alone. Going to grab some plain white towels. This is my go-to towel rack. It is just the perfect sort of towel rack. We're going to hang it there over the toilet so you can reach it easy from the tub. And we'll put a kind of one over here, but make it smaller so it looks like a hand towel rack on that side. Ironically, I don't have any like towel racks in any of my bathrooms. I just, fold them up, put them out. But I put them in most of the Sims bathrooms because I think they're very common. When I designed this house, I didn't want any, so there aren't any. But every other house I've lived in does have towel racks like that. And I guess that's good enough. We don't need a whole lot else. I'm going to design a quick closet here for the Sims. It's just going to be the typical with me sort of dream home decorator closet setup. I do this all the time. It's usually the same thing. This, right? This here. In fact, I think I've got it in the other apartment that's set in New York. In 1920, I did exactly the same thing, although probably you wouldn't have found something quite that fancy, but, well, yeah, probably not. Maybe you would have, but I doubt it. Bring that down a little bit so that it looks more normal height. And one thing we can do here as well, kind of like we did with the bookshelves, is we can go ahead and overlight it. We're going to grab it first. We will grab some clothing to put in here. Just so we can kind of see the difference. Did I put that the right direction? Yes. And we'll grab some shoes real quick, throw those in there as well. Put kind of some fancier shoes here, I think. More athletic style shoes. Loafers over here. And then we're going to go through and filter all the items by Dream Home Decorator. Dream Home Decorator is one of my favorite packs. I've used it a lot. And it came with a lot of great items. I really personally thought that it was just a really fun pack as well. I think it was the closest thing to having something to active to do in the game. Sometimes the gameplay in The Sims 4 is not real active. You kind of just click and watch type stuff. But with Dream Home Decorator, now granted, it was building, right? I mean, that was why it was active. That was really nice though, because it did give you something to do that had an effect on the game and an effect on your Sims, Put that there. Now, the way we can overlight this is we'll go ahead and we'll grab the typical lighting I was using before, which is the art light, whatever that's called, the painting light, the light you put over paintings to highlight art. Picture perfect art lighting. I mostly use this for under counter lighting as well because it just looks like under counter lighting to me more than just a plain fluorescent bulb. A lot of people sometimes, well, not a lot. I don't know if it's a lot. Some people do use plain fluorescent bulbs as under counter lighting, and I've done that before, like maybe in my first house and stuff like that. But now, of course, I have something more like this. It's an actual housing type unit. So we'll go ahead and we'll put this in here, and you can kind of see kind of the difference, right? Depending on where we place it, we're going to get a different kind of highlighting effect. And if we take it away, you can kind of see the difference, right? Right. So it is not necessary. I mean, just the slide overhead is all you actually need. But I think it's kind of fun because it feels more realistic. I do think if you were going to do a nice sort of walk-in closet, sometimes in an upscale apartment in New York, like the Dakota, where this apartment probably costs like, I don't know, $3 million, throwing some lighting into the closet probably is something you might do. And it's probably more than 3 million. I say 3 million. Hell, I don't know. Apartments in the Dakota building, I don't know. They can cost a lot. I guess it depends on how big they are. This is just technically a 1-bedroom that's been converted to a 2-bedroom. So maybe not as expensive as, say, a really large unit on a higher level. But yeah, pretty expensive even still. Will that fit up there? No. So we're going to put that over here on this side. And I think we'll put one next to it. Will it go? Nope, it won't go. Okay. We'll just do one of them then. I might change the color of that a little bit just to make it look a little bit different. And that is our walk-in closet, kind of our pass-through closet into the bathroom. That way, again, when you're advertising on like realtor.com or whatever, you can put ensuite master bath with a walk-in closet, and everyone will ooh and ah, and it'll kind of bump up the price you can ask, right, for your apartment. Let's grab a bed here. I guess we could stick with this theme. Let's grab a blue bed real quick. Maybe. How about yellow? Got yellow, maybe? Let's go with blue. Let's go with blue and black here for a nice modern bed. It's a little tight, but again, I think you would find this sort of setup in this sort of apartment. We will grab, again, just some bookshelves here, some built-ins. I don't think I'll light these. I'll just have lit these here in this other room. Speaking of lighting, we are going to do some sort of different lighting in here. We don't really need a desk in here. We do have an office in the other space. We might put a couple of chairs in here, a couple of occasional chairs in here, and a table by the window. Just some place to kind of hang out. Actually, I really like this. Let's use this. Kind of modern. Kind of a modern crate and barrel sort of look. Go with that style for it. A little bit darker since the bed's a little bit darker. Mostly if we have like kind of a black table in here that might work as an end table to go between these two chairs. Something. Does this come in black? Almost, I don't even know why I asked that. Almost everything in The Sims comes in black and white. Right? I mean, almost everything does. So I don't know why I would ask, well, does this come in black? You can almost always count. I guess not always, though, but almost always count on black and white in The Sims for your decorating and clothing options, right? We'll throw in a lamp here on the table. Something to kind of give us a look. Maybe this. It's not really a lamp, but it will give off light. And I do like it. I've said before, and I do still kind of maintain this. I don't really like it when they pre-decorate stuff like this little tray. But then at the same time, I do kind of like this little tray. So what can I say, right? I mean, sometimes it's fine, even if I don't really like it. Sometimes they do a good job of it, and I will use it. I thought we might put a little plant there on the bottom shelf. Something kind of like that. I think that looks good. And we need some primary lighting for this room. Do. Something overhead. I mean, we could use the standard sort of subtle saucer light. That's an option, but I think I would rather go with something a little nicer, a little fancier. We do have something like this. It's kind of cool. I also like these. This is a neat light. I don't know if it exactly fits this room though, but it kind of does. Let me take a look here. We could do it in black. That's going to help match the rest of the tone of the space. And looking at it now, I'm probably going to have to do some sort of lighting over here. But one thing I could do is just go ahead and, kind of overlight that whole area like that. And let's grab a nice large piece of art. Do. Does that come in a darker frame? That seems okay. Not quite. I would rather have kind of a black frame, but it does seem okay. I think it's going to work all right. We're going to throw in a quick table with this. Do. I feel like we could put something under here, maybe some baskets or something. I really don't know. I don't know that we need to, and I don't know I need to go this far in decorating this particular apartment, but we've come so far, right? Why not go ahead and just go all the way? Now, we could maybe grab a knitting basket and put it under there. This doesn't, the first thought is going to be like, well, this doesn't look like the sort of apartment where they knit. But those are just the sort of people who knit, right? It's just the sort of places you go and you think, I don't think these are the sort of people who knit. They're the ones busy knitting stuff. So we could go ahead and put like a little knitting basket here. And it looks a little bit kind of like a modern sort of satchel type of basket. So we'll go ahead and put that there for the homeowner to use. And that might be all we really need to worry about, maybe. Guess we could put this under here, kind of decorative as well. I'm gonna see what kind of colors it comes in. See if there's something maybe. I don't want to use everything in black. I was hoping there'd be like a red or a blue. We do have that. We have white. Just do black. Screw it. We'll do it and do black. And then what I would ultimately like to do is maybe put some family photos here on each side of this particular door. And then back here on this wall, I want to just paint this with an accent. So do some sort of accent coloring back there on that wall. I have no idea what. I really don't have any idea what. We could look for some sort of like what I'm looking for, some sort of maybe wallpaper. I bet I end up finding nothing. It's I don't know, maybe this. Is there something here? Is that bringing down the overall tone too much? Maybe. I've said before and I'm going to say it again. One thing I really, really miss from The Sims 3 is the cast system where you could, recolor basically everything, clothing and everything, because it did make situations like this where I'm thinking, oh, you know what I wish I had was this wallpaper, but in a different color. It just makes it really, really easy to get a designer look to something. Uh, that's not it. That's for sure. We got this kind of stuff. We've got this. That's actually not too bad. Let me take a look at it. Kind of highlight maybe this area over here by the bed. It does feel a little dark, but it also kind of has a sort of richness to it. Now, it makes the room really kind of masculine all of a sudden, right? That does not mean that it couldn't be a room for a more feminine personality, but it does have that sort of tone, that sort of darkness of tone, which is, kind of stereotypical anyway, and kind of just, I don't know that really holds water, but that's kind of the thought, right? So I'm going to leave it. I'm going to leave it and say that this is still a room for anybody, even though it may be a little bit darker there. And we're going to go over here and we're going to take care of the kids' room. Here, we're going to use that for his desk, his or her desk. I say his a lot when I am working on a kid's room because I have a son. And so I feel like I automatically go to this idea of him because usually when I'm thinking about outfitting a room, it's like for my son, right? It's kind of like, oh, this is what I'd put if this was for my son, I would do X, Y, Z. One thing I think I'm going to do is move the doorway for this. I'm going to offset it a little bit, either here or here. I think right here. And I'm going to put his desk over here. And I'm going to do, well, maybe. I might put his desk under his bunk bed. So if I put a bunk bed here by the windows, I don't really want to do that. Do, do, do. We could use this sort of a dream home decorator bed. Let's change the coloring around just a little bit. And where's a desk to go with it? Oh, actually, I kind of like this too. Hmm. So now I'm a little stuck. And this has a ready-made desk underneath it with a chair and everything, right? So let's do that. Let's take this out. It'll save me having to look for a chair for this particular desk. I do like that coloring a little bit. We might leave that. Oh, I like the clouds though too. That's cute. Oh, that's really cute. Let's see. I'm gonna go with that with the dinosaurs and an alligator. I guess reptiles. Is it supposed to be a reptile bed? I don't know. And we'll leave the chair alone. Although my thought was we use this chair, and then when we need an extra chair for the dining room table, we can just grab it from the kids' room, right? From their desk. Again, that feels like more of an apartment thing to do because you don't have a lot of space. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to still follow through on that idea. And then let's go ahead and put a computer in there for him. His own computer so he doesn't have to use mom and dad's. Ah, fancy one. All right, with a curved screen. He wants to be a streamer. He wants to be a gamer. I always think that this comes in like a blue and a red, and it doesn't. Yeah, I guess I really wish it did because I always click on it like I'm going to, pull up something else, and then there is nothing else. I think too, let's look under activities and skills. Let's make him maybe a painter, maybe, or he could do. Let's look at the kids' stuff specifically. Yeah, he could do art. He could do science, art and science. So let's grab a. Now let's grab this. Let's grab the seasonal kind of art table here. We're going to put it in this corner by the windows so you can kind of see outside as he's working. Let's grab a toy box. Oh, let's grab Yarny. Yarny's a given. We'll put him here on the desk if he'll fit. Will he fit? Yeah, there he goes. I always make him a little bit bigger, so you can kind of see him a little bit better there. Put Yarny in there and then grab a toy box down here. For this other corner, and we'll throw in some sort of rug here to play on. And that's not bad. He's got a desk for homework. He's got a computer for video games. He's got a place to do some art. He's got a place to put his toys. So I think for an inner city, like an urban area type of kids' bedroom, I think it works pretty well. I'm going to go with it. And if we had to, we could put two kids in here with a bunk bed pretty easily. We could stick a bunk bed on, of course, on the bottom level. And still maybe do a desk and computer over here and maybe a toy box over here. So we could fit a lot into this room if we wanted to put two kids into this apartment and two adults in a fashion that we would probably see in an urban apartment in New York, in Manhattan, right? I usually use this rug. I use it almost really, too much because I use it all the time because I love it. I love that it's got that kind of rainbow feel, to it, but it's not really going to fit there very well. So let's look and see what else we have here. Do we have anything else? We got this sort of stuff. Let's see. Kind of looks like cookies, right? Again, I kind of would want it bigger though, and then if I make it bigger, it doesn't fit at all. So we've got this with dinosaurs on it. I've never been a big fan of this rug. I kind of like it better with the ladybugs, but it feels like a little, I guess because it feels like a baby's rug, and this isn't a room for a baby, right? As my son would say if I tried to put it in his room, that's a baby's rug, Dad. Where'd you get that? Take it back. We could use these. I do like these. The sort of Pokemon rug. I'll make it a little bit smaller here. Kind of arrange it so that it fits in here like so, right? I think that works pretty well. So we got our rugs in here. We're not going to put a TV or anything in here because he has a computer. He watches everything on YouTube, everything online. We might throw a few things up here on the wall, a few posters, stuff like that. What do we have here? What should we use? What should we use? I thought there was some of those Void Critter posters. I haven't looked for them in a long time, so I could be wrong. Maybe they were stickers. Let's put that guy in there. Sims poster. Slightly off. Road Rival Alpha. He's got a big poster of that, right? He loves that game. Maybe that's his favorite game. It's one of those games where you drive a car and kill people. So he loves it. He's totally into it. Oh, there they are. Yeah, I think this is what I'm thinking of. But I don't think I'm going to use those. Because I want it to be more like an actual picture. Put that there. And then here under this, it's already got some art, I guess, there on the desk. I'm going to put in a few postcards. Most of my Sims do travel, right? They travel because I travel. And so my Sims travel, and usually with the kids, I like to kind of throw some postcards on the wall that maybe they grabbed a few places that they went. It's this one, Lunar Lake, 6 a.m. Dragon Valley. Let's grab this Bridgeport. That's from when they went to visit Philadelphia, right? That's when they went to visit Philadelphia. And we'll go ahead and grab this. This is probably when they went to visit Martha's Vineyard. And what's this one? Oh, this is when they went to visit France, right? And France was really cool, so he got 2 postcards from France. So I'll put both those on there. Okay, so we got that there. Again, it's a pretty quick little, run through here of this kid's room. We could do a sort of accent wall here, and I actually thought about using this stone in the kid's room. Seems like a kid might want it to feel kind of like a castle. I don't know. I don't want to get too crazy with it. And this is supposed to be a remodeled apartment. So I think we'll leave it. Out here on the balcony, I don't know. Do we need anything? Not really. We probably don't. Let's see. We'll take that off. Grab some. I guess we'll go some plants out here or something. Like this. This is kind of cool. We'll throw this out here. A couple of these lined up. So there's a little greenery when you look out your window. Let's fix these windows here. so they more evenly match the countertop. Has a nice view out to the courtyard. Let a little light in through there. And then we'll throw in a few things here in the kitchen. Not a lot, but a few things. Like I'm thinking a coffee maker maybe. I love this new stuff. Like I love these new like brightly colored sort of items here. I'm going to go ahead and go with some red here in this kitchen. Like a nice red coffee pot there or teapot or whatever they're making with it. We'll throw that in and let's grab Instapot. We'll put an Instapot over here by the stove, and we'll make it red as well. Now, I don't think we have a dishwasher that's red. I wish we did. That'd be really cool. But we do have it in yellow, right? This kind of yellow version of it. Let's be there we go. Kind of weird to have it on the outside like that. But I'm going to try it there. I'm going to try it there. Now, in real life, it would work there. My big fear is I've got all of this stuff right here, and it's all going to cause routing issues. So we are going to test it a little bit here in a minute because, yeah, I am really concerned that we're going to get some routing issues off that. But I'm going to try it. We're going to see what happens. And this kind of comes in a red. There's not really room for it. What I would love, I wish we had we can put these in inventory, these appliances in our Sims inventory, but I wish we really did have a cabinet. Like you could click on the cabinet and say, put coffee pot away, or click on the coffee pot and say, put away, and it would go into the cabinet. That would be a really great update for the future, right? I think, anyway. I really want to do a vent, but I don't think we have any sort of wall-mounted vents where it's literally just on the wall, like a fan here. And I don't know that I want to put something that will intersect the shelves, like that, like I just did. I don't know if I want to do that. I guess we could put it up here. It's kind of high up, but maybe we could do that. That's not too bad. And at least it does match the shelves as far as the level where it's sitting, so it doesn't look out of place. Okay, let's do that. And then we're going to throw in a few wall items here, mostly because I want to work a little bit of more red into this kitchen. And there are some red items with that old kitchen pack. Was it Cool Kitchen stuff or something like that? There's like a spice rack, of course. Do these come in red? Look at this. Not really. Okay, let's see here. Do we have, it takes forever to find this stuff. Like there's one of the Cool Kitchen items, this wood block. I'm going to go ahead and put it over here. It's kind of red, kind of gives us that red tone. And I think I'll throw in some red little planters here in a moment. Maybe I should just search by spice rack. That might be easier and quicker. Let's see here. There it is. So we got this great spice rack in red, right? Super cool, super pretty. We'll put this here. Actually, I'm going to reverse those. Let's put this over here. And let's put this over here. Because I feel like the spices would be close to your Instapot, right? For cooking and the stove. And then we're going to grab the fancy, expensive knives here coming up. Where are they? There we go, right here, this thing. Now there's also a red utensils rack. Right here. Here we go. And sometimes I just kind of intersect this with this to make it look like it's a little wonky, but to kind of make it look like we have a knife combination utensil rack. Again, because in an apartment situation, you're going to kind of double duty things where you don't have a lot of room, right? So we'll throw those in there. And then for a few more red accents, we'll grab the red planter here. And at some point, I might fill in all of these shelves here with, I don't know, jars, something, some sort of stuff. I haven't really decided. I thought it'd be really cool to have open shelving like that in a modern New York apartment. So maybe you won't feel quite so closed in as you would with full cabinetry, but I'll need to go through and maybe put some stuff on there. But all in all, I'd say this apartment is pretty much done. This apartment is pretty much done, pretty much furnished. It looks pretty good for a modern 2-bedroom in an old building, in an old converted building. And we got the exterior finished today as well, which is also a big plus. Now the whole thing matches from side to side and front to back. And that's where I'm going to stop for right now. I do plan to stream later today. Again, later today, I'll come back, do some streaming back over in Tomarang, and then start working on mapping out the penthouse here on the top floor, because this is going to be huge. I have no idea where I'm going with this. I think this will be the entryway. I think that's going to be the entryway, and that literally is as far as I've gotten with trying to figure out what I'm going to do. I really don't know, but we're gonna try to figure that out. We're gonna try to work on the dark cave-like nature of this courtyard now, because it is a lot darker than I thought it would be when I first put in this glass roof. I thought we'd get a little more light down there because I want to have, again, kind of a winter garden down in this particular area. Don't know. I don't think it's going to happen. So we'll have to look at that. In the meantime, please hit like, subscribe, and notify. And we'll see you again this afternoon to work on Tomarang, do some work on Tomarang, then bounce back over here, work on this particular build, and figure out what we're going to do from there with our penthouse design. Now, until then, like always, thanks for watching.